What up, big dog? How you living, gangster? Look, for those of y'all that don't know, my name is Harmon Melody. I have been working in the car business for close to 3 years now. I worked at Jeep for 2.5 years, and I've been working at Honda for about 3-4 months now. 8 things to look at when buying a car. Number 1, do your research on the brand. For example, right? Some brands are known to be more expensive than others. I work at Honda, right? BMW is known to be more expensive than Honda, and it's more expensive everywhere, right? When you buy a car, you also have to take into consideration the cost of fixing the car. These German brands, it's a lot of money to fix. Anything happens to the car, you might need to just change your brakes, and this is gonna cost you a lot. So one thing you need to be aware of when you buying a car is the brand. Whatever brand you are considering, do your research on it, just to make sure it's something that you can afford, right? Now, number 2, you need to be willing to spend a little more. See, oftentimes, right, people often go towards the cheap route trying to save money, but what always end up happening is when you go towards the cheap route, you always end up spending more money, because that car might be $500, which is in your price range, I agree, but you get a car that has a leak problem, your fucking pump fuel is out. So prime example, I bought a 2010 Chevy Malibu. I don't have the car anymore. I got into a car accident. The car ended up being the total. So when I bought the car, right, the water pump was messed up. My thermostat was messed up. I needed to change the brakes and the calipers, but I like to work on my own cars, so it wasn't that big of a deal to me. I got the car and fixed it myself. For, let's say, because I bought this car for like what, $1,500. Now let's say someone that don't know how to work on their own car, right? You have a car that you have a $4,000 car, and you have this Chevy that I just bought for $1,500. That $1,500 Chevy that you bought, bro, between changing the water pump, my fuel pump, my thermostat, and all 4 brakes, rotors, and brake pads, I don't even want to guess how much you would spend. But imagine if you were doing that on a BMW. If you had all this work to be done in a BMW. Hell, it don't even have to be a Beamer. It could be a regular car. It would have still cost you. That's why I said sometimes, bro, you have to be willing to spend a little more. I understand your budget, but try to get something. As much as it costs, it will save you in cost of ownership overall. Third, you have to learn how to check the basic things in the car before you even go about making a decision. What I mean by check the basic things in the car. So when you go and see a car, right, do some research about the tires, the thread on the tires, because you can't buy a car with balls to tires. That means you're gonna have, besides buying this car, you have to buy 4 new tires as well, right? And tires, I mean, do some quick research. Get down on your knees, pause, look at the brakes, just make sure there's no like mark on the brake, because if there's too much mark on the brake and they're rusted, that means you're gonna need new brakes soon. You're gonna need new brakes, brake pad, and most likely, if everything's so the rust usually transfer to the brake calipers, you might need new brakes, new brake pads, and new brake calipers. Now again, if you are able to work on your own car, cool. If not, all of these fall into cost of ownership, right? Take the car for a drive, accelerate a little bit. I don't want to say slam on the brake, but try to brake hard. Just listen to it. Do you hear a squeaking sound? Do you hear metal rubbing against each other? Because what you're doing, right, you're doing an assessment as of to, okay, if I buy this car, right, what do I need, right, for this car to be good, to be to be drivable, and how long do I have if I need to change something, right? Also, pop the hood. A pretty simple trick to learn, right? When you pop the hood and you turn the car on, you just look at the engine. Side note, when you pop a hood and the car is on, the engine should not be shaking. When you press the gas, the engine should not be going up and down as you pressing the gas and shit. This means your motor mount fucked up and something is wrong with your engine. These are also things, it's pretty simple, but most people don't even bother looking out for them, because sometimes the eager to be a car owner outweigh the eager to make sure the car is actually a good car. Fourth, do your research on retailing price and wholesaling price. So a lot of y'all don't understand that. So let me explain it to y'all once and for all. There's a difference between retail price, which is what a car is selling for, and wholesale price, which is what a car is being bought for, right? I can't tell you how many people come to my dealership and they see a car and they come with their car. The car is being resold for $30,000, but the wholesale price on the car is like $25,000. You see what I'm saying? But then you offer them what the wholesale price is, $25K for the car, and they start bowling out. Oh, no. Somebody's reselling this car for 30 or 40. All right, a simpler way to know, just go to Carfax, spend $50. Now, and then it would tell you, like, once you go on the Carfax history of the car, it should show you the retail value of the car and the wholesale value of the car. Now, the only reason why I want you to make sure you know about wholesale and retail value, it's mostly for this, right? Let's say you get a car that you're financing. I'm just gonna throw two brands out there because these are the two brands I know for sure don't lose their value fast. Hondas and Toyotas. They're two brands that don't lose their value. Let's say you buy a car, right? You buy a Honda or a Toyota. You financing it or you leasing it for, I'm gonna say 3-4 years. Let's use finance because not everybody's into leasing. Say you finance a Honda for, I'm gonna say 5 years, which is 60 months. What always end up happening, usually once you're 3 years into making payments, these cars already start to build equity. A lot of people would always tell you, oh, a car is a liability. The wrong car can be a liability, I won't lie. But there's some cars that you have, if you get into a jam and you need like emergency fund, you should be able to sell this car. Even though you owe money on it, you should be able to sell this car and come out with some kind of money out of it, bro. But you just have to know what the right brand is, right? That'll tell you 3-4 years down the line, is it some shit that you're just gonna have to dump money into, and by the time you pay this car off, car already has whatever amount of miles on it, and you're gonna need a new one, because this shit, by the time you get to that 100,000 plus miles, yeah, the car is paid off, but everything is fucking breaking down in the car, so you're gonna have to get a whole new car soon anyway. So beware of that though. Fifth, for your first car, always try to get an all-wheel drive for your first car. The only reason why I'm saying, but that's a personal opinion, you get a bit more control over an all-wheel drive car instead of a rear-wheel drive or a front-wheel drive. I know that because I've had my fair share of cars. My first car was a Saturn front-wheel drive. Lost control of that little motherfucker. I was probably like 7 months into owning the car. That was my very first car, and I'm driving. At the time, I was working at Domino's Pizza, and it was raining. So you see, a lot of time when you take the DMV test, they will always tell you, oh, if the car is skidding, turn the wheel to the other side. It's all good. And it sounds doable until you get in the situation yourself and you'll realize it's not as easy, right? So the reason I say try to get an all-wheel drive for your first car, an all-wheel drive you at less of a risk of skidding, and if you are, it's much more easier to regain control of the car instead of having a front wheel drive and a rear wheel drive. Now, once you like a year or 2 years in and you have that experience, then feel free, get a front wheel drive or a rear wheel drive, or however the hell you want to get it. But I would advise you, as your first car, get an all-wheel drive. Reason being, even if it's raining, snowing, whatever, you press the gas, all four wheels start to move and the car move. Rear wheel drive or front wheel drive, depending on the condition of the road, you press that gas a little too hard, that motherfucker gonna spin with you. You see what I'm saying? So first car should, I would say, get an all-wheel drive. That way you get a feel for what it is to drive, and then the more experience you get, feel free to get a diversify it. Get a rear wheel drive, front wheel drive, just so you can see what it is. All right. Where I'm at, I don't even know. Next, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yep, 6. Try to get a 4-cylinder. For your first car, I don't want to say you don't need that much power, but it's much more controllable. A 4-cylinder is much more controllable and easier. When you go pedal to the metal for a 4-cylinder and you do the same for a 6 or 8, you see and you know the difference. So trying to stop, I'd say, as a first driver, try to get like a 4-cylinder with a direct fuel injection engine. You still get a little bit of 4-cylinder, it kind of sort of drive like a 6, and it's easy. It's much easier to control a car like this. So yeah, try to go for a 4-cylinder. 7. Research on how much the part of the car cost. It goes back to what I was telling you earlier, especially with these German cars. The German cars, they're fucking expensive. They are expensive to find. Even by the time you find them, if you can't work on your own car, the price of the part plus labor, it's gonna run you a big bill. Say that 2010 Chevy I told y'all about, right? If this was a BMW and I had to change my water pump, my fuel pump, my thermostat, all 4 brakes, rotors, brake pads, and calipers, anybody that own a BMW, feel free to put that in the comment section. Just give me an estimate of how much you think this shit will cost. Shop for insurance. This is one thing I've come to the realization being at this job. When you look at a car, especially a car that you can physically see, try to get a VIN number, call your insurance, and try to get a quote for it. Because I've never done that before, and I figure it's a good thing to do, because the few times that I have jumped up and bought a car, and then by the time I call for the insurance is out of my price range, but I already paid for the car, so I have to get it insured. You see what I'm saying? So before you pull that trigger, try to call around for insurances, see if it's something that you can afford. Look at multiple other cars, shop for insurances. You have to make sure that, especially if it's something that you're going to finance a lease, you have to make sure it's something that you can afford for the month. Otherwise, 4 or 5 months down the line, that's just going to get repoed, and it's just not good for your credit. And lastly, if the car is under 100,000 miles, check for warranty. That is a big selling point. If the car is under 100,000 miles, check for warranty. Because oftentimes, if that car has warranty on it, what that means is that there's certain problem that you're gonna run into. You won't have to spend any money out of pocket. Again, it goes back to me saying, try to spend a bit more, because oftentimes when you spend more, you end up, if you spend more in the front, you end up spending less in the back end. Sometimes though, you spend less in the front and you still spend less in the back end, but that's a very lucky few times. Majority of the times, going the cheapest route, because somebody ain't gonna sell you a car for $500 if they know it's a good car. You see what I'm saying? So it's like, but yeah, These were all 8 points I figure someone should know when you first buying a car, because with these, it should be easier for you to find a good car, a good reliable car that push come to shove you need to get out of it, you can easily get out of it and not having to worry about, I spent money to buy the car and I have to spend money to get out the car. I think this is it for today. Appreciate you watching. Peace out.